What's up, guys? Vince The Anomaly here with Shane Faison, and today we are covering Jessica Andrade's devastating knockout slam over Rose Namajunas that just happened the other weekend. We're going to go over the technique so you guys can learn how to do that one and also the legalities of it. I know it's been a hot topic right now. People are thinking that if that should be a legal slam or not, so we'll talk a little bit about that too. Let's check it out. So there it is, guys, the slam heard around the world at UFC 237. Pretty vicious slam because Rose landed on her head and it knocked her out. Obviously, we didn't want to drop Shane on his head there, so he kind of let go.
Thank you, Vince.
But, you know, the whole reason that she got knocked out was because she was holding on to that Kimura grip she had. So let's actually go over the technique first, and then we can kind of discuss, you know, kind of the legalities of the slam. I know you're not supposed to necessarily spike someone on their head, but there are some loopholes in the MMA rule set that allows that to happen. So let's check out this technique first. Jessica had Rose pressured up here, up against the cage. So, you know, a standard position we get in here in MMA if we're shooting a single or double. We kind of get stuck here. But what Rose was trying to do was use her Kimura grip. So she was grabbing that same side, grabbing her own wrist right there, exactly what Shane has on there. And we've gone over the Kimura trap sweep that I like to do from this cage. So if you guys want to check that out, you can. But more or less, that's kind of what Rose is doing. If you get to this position, you can negate a lot of what I'm trying to do by getting this grip, because there are a lot of ways to kind of toss me over or roll me through once I finish the slam. So it's a very good technique to use, but in this case, it obviously wasn't. So once Jessica got her single leg here, what she did, which was great, was shifted up to a high crotch. So basically, my grip was down low. She's moving it all the way high up into the crotch, and at the same time, she pulled her head out and went to the outside. So she went on this side of Shane. I'm going to kind of lift my head up and talk right here, but notice how low my head is, and this is exactly where you're supposed to be when you're going for the slam. Now, once I've shifted my grip up into that crotch area, I'm going to step in, and I'm making sure my hips are really tight and close to Shane. Okay, the reason why we want to get tight there is it allows me to step in and really lift Shane up or lift our opponent up, and this way I can use my hips, my legs, and my back to lift you up. So if you're swinging a kettlebell, you don't just roll over with your back and pull it with your back like this, right? It just doesn't work. So in order to create any type of power, I want to get my hips in and explode through, just like that, almost like a deadlift or kettlebell swing. Right. So it's the same principle here. On this high crotch, once I've got this position where my head's on the outside, I'm going to step in. My hips are nice and tight onto Shane's leg, and I'm just lifting up. You can try it with a partner. Try it with someone even who's a lot bigger than you, and you'll notice that if I lift this way, it's really hard. However, if I step in and squat up, pop my hips through, it's going to be very easy to lift your opponent up. So that's all Jessica did. Obviously, it takes strength to keep doing that through a fight and do it over and over, but it's a pretty simple lift if you get here. So really, for guys like our size, smaller guys, if you have someone up against the cage, try it. Just step your legs in, step your hips in, and go for this high crotch, okay? So what she did here again, boom, I've got on the single. Shane grabs that Kimura grip, head to the outside, shifting my grip up high, stepping in and popping my hips through. And now she did everything perfectly. Once she got Rose up, she turned her head in, and she was dropping her this way. Now, notice what Shane did there. He let go of that grip to break the fall. And that's what's going to happen 99% of the time. The person who's going to get tossed in their head is going to let go and kind of brace themselves or fall on their stomach or just kind of turn so that they're not falling on their head. And that's what happened to Rose. That was the problem, was that she kind of held on to this Kimura grip, and when Jessica was turning her over and dropping her down, her head did this weird thing where it just swung underneath and she landed right on it. Obviously, you hit the back of your head like that, it's going to result in a KO, or you're going to lose all that balance or whatever happened. This was a nasty KO. But again, she caused it, right?
Well, that's my question. Right when he came in, he told me this is what we're filming today. I was like, I thought spiking on the head was illegal. No?
Yeah, so it is illegal if you're picking an opponent up and like power bombing them. If you're going like almost like a 12-6 or just dropping them straight on their head, that's an illegal slam.
Okay.
However, if the opponent is holding on to some type of submission, so if I'm going for a triangle or armbar, whatever it is, the opponent then has the option to let go of that submission. So in this case, Rose had that Kimura grip on. So technically, with Jessica picking her up and turning her over, even though she came down on her head, even though it was a spike to her head,
she was defending the submission.
Yeah, Rose had the option to let go of that submission, and she didn't. So it is on her. In this case, it's on her. At least that's what the MMA rule set says now. I know Big John came out and said the same thing. A lot of fighters too. I'm kind of in that same boat where, she held on to that Kimura. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to make that choice in that moment, you could get slammed on your head. And usually it's not going to happen, but it happened.
What happens if she lets go last second?
I mean,
it's still like in the moment she's still defending against. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, then it's pretty subjective too. But I think because she was actually just holding on to it, then at that moment she has that option to let go or not.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. There's the high crotch, the slam, and the legalities of it. All right, guys, there you have it. Remember, with this slamming technique, you want to focus more so on your technique over strength, which means get your hips in, use the leverage, and when you're practicing with a partner, do it safely. Just go through the motions, right? Big lift, but don't actually slam your partner on their head because we see what can happen. Guys, comment down below. What do you think? Should this move be banned? Was it Rose's fault for not letting go? We want to hear what you think, so comment down below. But until then, be sure to follow Vince for more tutorials, more content. Links in the description below for his Instagram. Support him on his journey. You're an MMA coach. You got to support him. All right, and then until then, follow fightTIPS. Subscribe to get the fight tips before your opponent does. I'm Shane.
Vince The Anomaly.
fightTIPS for the underdogs.